The individual, who is the one presenting the super-knowledge of the ears at the moments where agreement allows such to be known, will be tasked in presenting much of the knowledge based on said individual's experiences. They will have then quite the intensive course and training that encompasses many lifetimes of study and exploration, as they are prepared for their position. This certainly saves a lot of time, and everybody who accepts this individual and takes heed of the knowledge imparted will have a quick crash course and get up to speed on everything that the individual delivering the super knowledge would have taken many lifetimes to accrue and compile. It is akin to jumping on a bus rather than walking, making far more sense to take advantage of the knowledge that the chosen individual at this time, being Dwayne Hepner, the new man, provides. The real guides will be training all the new students also, and much of the real side experiences becomes a means by which to verify the information Dwayne provides. Everybody then can become witnesses, testifying to the authenticity of the information, as they will experience it now for themselves. Every individual also can be shown, and indeed request to know whatever they feel is important for their knowledge. The real guides will respond and provide every individual who has made their real self-connection and is on their process with whatever they wish to know. They will be shown on the real side, or perhaps on the physical life level, depending on the nature of the question. Perhaps one may overhear a conversation, and the answer provided this way. Life and the guides always are showing us something, and it falls upon us to pay attention to what life is demonstrating to us now, to the extent that guides will momentarily manipulate creation on the physical level if they feel it necessary to get a point to an individual. And so we can see that the secrets of creation can be so no more. We can seek our own answers. We can resolve all our ponderings, and ultimately, when we stand with the ears, we can access the universal files. These files contain all the knowledge of everything, and are only accessible by those standing with the ears, or those still in creation that the guides allow, that they trust will not use the knowledge for personal, frivolous, or derisive purposes. So we know what creation is. We know why we are here. we now know the mechanics of the creation we are in, and how it is in fact a simulator. And now we can resolve the age-old quandary of the possibility of a God, and the religions that seem to be adamant of the existence of these gods. We discover, in fact, that we are the decider of everything in our lives. We are the creator of our experience, and whatever circumstances befall us. We are, in fact, the creator of our body vehicles, that which we forge experiences with in the simulator. Our awareness dictates the extent to which we create each physical vehicle for each new incarnation. Awareness is expansive. It always seeks to be so, until it becomes more so real awareness, then recognition of how to be with the is. The more aware we become, the more connected with our real selves we are, the more we are earning our awareness, and the less we are indulging in personal self-wants only. As everything in creation is a reflective bubble, as everything equals itself, cause and effect will have a bearing on the body type we assume each lifetime. With ever expanding real awareness, even should we still return for further lifetimes, our physical vehicle will reflect generally the awareness we have. We will have far more clay by which to mould our physical vehicles, as the effect consequence of connecting with our real selves and awareness. The more we are connected with our real selves, the more adept it is at making physical vehicles, should we return for another lifetime. The more clay we have, as the effect of causes set in motion of a more awareness-orientated nature. The opposite holds true for those who have no connection. Their awareness isn't expanding, or in fact allowed to, and they remain very much with their personal selves only. This will limit to the extent the real self's ability to forge each subsequent body form. The real self will always be there and have the task of creating the next body type for itself, but is limited according to the clay it gets to work with. Less awareness results in more personal self-only created ideas, and the consequent limited effect or experience that stems from that, including the clay available for forming the next body type. And for those who have no connection and chase personal self-wants, but of a type that is abrasive and restricting of others, those that set up ideas of control and manipulate others to agree with this limitation also, may find they are far more limited in the material they have by which to forge their next lifetime body vehicle. We can expect then distorted body types for such individuals as the real self tries its best with the limited material it has available. Because of the overall agreement to individuals whose ideas are of a restricting of awareness and destructive nature, the awareness is at such a low ebb that everybody returning to future lifetimes can expect to have distorted body types consequently, in keeping with this model of cause and effect. Everybody creating ideas of distortion or agreeing with them, which is tantamount to the same thing, will experience distorted effects, dire future lifetimes, and distorted body types that reflect the lack of awareness and the lack of material the real self has to work with. But regardless, we can see that we are the decider of everything, including the creator of the body vehicles we forge for our physical level lifetimes. The real self has created the personal self for the simulator, and so no God or any other being has a hand in this creating. Any God or any being, whatever they choose to call themselves, will only be able to create their own body vehicles. All any other being can do is manipulate an individual into agreement to distortion, and can effect then a distorted or altered body type, in accordance with the idea agreed with. But again, the individual has to agree with this idea for any individual to have a bearing on what body form or degree of distortion the body form may have in future lifetimes. And yes, there are indeed gods, but these are not the mighty beings they would have us believe. All self-proclaimed gods will be as much within the simulator as any other individual, and yes, they will have real selves, just like all the individuals who choose to worship these so-called creational gods. And like all individuals, the real self stands with the ears, awaiting recognition, and is beyond the limited considerations of the mind, the emotional drives and desires, the want to dominate, to control, to be a god and regarded as such. Individuals in creation can have whatever they want. It is a free will simulator. You choose what you desire. You decide and agree on whatever you want, and the experience unfolds. If it is an experience that incorporates other individuals, particularly on a mass creational scale, you cannot exact this experience unless you have the agreement of all those you want in your experience. If you want to be a controller, if you want to dominate great swathes of individuals, they must agree with your position. They must agree with the control you have over them. And by doing so, the resulting experience for all will be you as the controller, and the masses as the controlled. And so we have the 5 levels, and what sits at each of these levels as the governor are what we might call very ambitious dictators. It's all very well to control a planet, but imagine controlling an entire life level, and everything that is beneath the life level you control. If it is agreement that is required to secure your position of control, as it cannot be the experience of the controller or the controlled unless agreed with, then individuals securing far greater positions of greater control must have secured greater agreement to that position. On each of the levels then we have reptilian controllers, warlords, very ambitious controllers, who have assumed their positions through agreement. Initially the positions were made available, as when individuals first entered the creational simulator, very soon did they lose their connection to their real selves and awareness. They became lost in their creations. Like all unconscious individuals in creation, unaware of the mechanics of cause and effect, they would create, and of course would create poorly, in the sense that they would unwittingly create ideas or causes that would produce unsavoury and disagreeable effects or experiences. Puzzled were they by these happenings, and also it would seem that individuals with perhaps a greater grasp of creational cause and effect mechanics would wish to exact unsavoury effects or experiences, or whatever experiences they chose, and shrug off responsibility for the experiences they had created. For isn't it easier to blame one's shortcomings on something external to one's self? That it must surely be due to that individual over there, or circumstances beyond one's control, rather than accept full responsibility that every individual is the creator and decider of every facet of their experience and life, every detail. Ultimately then, it's very easy to imagine passing responsibility to something that cannot refute or dispute the blame. Easy to create imaginary individuals, individuals who are all powerful. For obviously, for all these happenings to be so, for all these random occurrences that seem to be going on beyond anyone's apparent ability to control must be due to some powerful, otherworldly being, and this then would set the stage for the emerging of the gods.